Hello Turcaholics and welcome back to Football a la Turca Season 2 Episode 8. My name is Kaan Bayazit and I'm joined by a full panel tonight. Umut, Naderi, Yakup, Marufoglu, Özer Dindjer and the man of the law himself, Burak Sezgin. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you. Hey guys. We've got a full squad here today.
Hello, it's good to be back bringing you all the news from Turkish football.
You know, Burak, it's really good to have you back because last time we kind of felt lost without you a little bit when we didn't have our man of the law to, adjudge the situations. Not that much that happened this week, I think. Pretty straightforward, especially what happened tonight. As we're recording this on Monday, just after the Konyaspor-Malatyaspor match, and there's an hilarious incident that happened there. But before we get to the Super League, just briefly going to touch on the international break. Because we didn't get to that last week, unfortunately. So Turkey had 2 international matches for the European qualifiers these past 2 weeks during the international break. The first one, Turkey beat Albania 1-0 at home. A goal coming in the 90th minute from Cenk Tosun. And then Turkey went on to France and got a point away at France, which I think was the ideal scenario for anyone. Well, of course, a win would have been better, but a point away in France when you've already beaten them at home, that's fantastic. 4 points against France. So the French took the lead. I don't have the minutes in front of me here right now, but late in the second half, I believe around the 75th, 76th minute or something like that, Olivier Giroud had just come in off the bench, headed the corner home. 1-0 for France, and after they were basically pounding on the door the entire match long, Mert played a fantastic match, but then Kaan Ayhan also came on as a substitute. He replaced Zeki, who got injured, and he scored again against France with a header off of Hakan Çalhanoğlu, a free kick, I think, and Hakan Çalhanoğlu actually making an impact as a sub off the bench. In the second half, he did actually do quite well. I was surprised with his performance, but the main talking point I think coming out of this is a little bit political. It's the salutes that the Turkish players did. We're not going to spend too much time on that. I think the outside world responded in a very chaotic and over-the-top way, acting as if the Turkish players were making, some sort of Heil Hitler signs or something like that. Well, in case you're not familiar with Turkish football, the military salute is a very common celebration in Turkey. Okay, maybe the timing may be not perfect, but that's what Turkish players, even foreign players in the league, do all the time whenever there's a victim, a Turkish soldier that dies in an attack or whatever. So it's more of a sign of respect for the army rather than condoning a war or whatever. So I was really upset about all the BS the last 2 weeks from Spanish media, Italian media, French media. The thing that pissed me off most is that they were clearly not well informed on the subject matter. I felt like, I don't know how you guys felt about it.
Same as you, Kaan. I just think they weren't informed about the subject matter, and they chose to be sensationalist with their comments. And well, if anyone's looking to pick up a central defender, I think Mirek Demiral might be on his way out of Juventus, and I'm sure he'd be welcome at Leicester to play alongside Çağlar Söyüncü.
He'd be welcome at Beşiktaş.
I don't think he's come to the Super League anytime soon. No, maybe in about 15 years, maybe to end it. But Leicester tweeted their support of Çağlar Söyüncü. He played really well, to be fair to him. Mm-hmm. Our little handsome defender there, because you've got a good company. It's like Beauty and the Beast, isn't it? You've got Milik, who's like this rough, tough. Just he'd run through a brick wall. He would headbutt a goat if he had to. And you've got Çağlar, who's like, Aramis of the Three Musketeers. He's just graceful, skillful and elegant. But, top of the group now, 2 games left. The big one is next, home to Iceland. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's away to Andorra or away to Moldova. One of those 2, I believe. Of course, we don't want to celebrate too soon. Andorra. We don't want to celebrate too soon, but it's looking likely that Turkey will be heading to Euro 2020 next year, And if they are, then tickets for all the group games, my dear listeners, will be out in December, and you can apply for all 3 in one batch.
I thought you were going to say tickets are on me or something.
Come on, man.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you met some high-ranking UEFA people at your after-hours activities.
Well, we do have seminars about the law at midnight, so I may have some contacts. But yeah, that was my thoughts on the game, and we made a meal of it against Albania. Was it Albania? I've completely forgot who we played in the first game. Albania, but Cenk Tosun popped up, got the goal, and then Kaan Bayazit loves scoring against the French. We had players missing, they had players missing, but
the one thing I didn't really like, though, I think that Kaan Bayazit didn't really want to do the military salute, and Mary got really pissed at him and kind of try to force him into it. And in my opinion, it's kind of like, look, if you want to do that, it's your decision. And I think that the reactions from, for example, St. Pauli is absolutely irrational. And I understand that they're a club against fascism, and I get that that's in their blood. But what they're doing is oppressing opinions too. So isn't that fascism too? And it seems a little bit of a paradox, I think Kaan Bayazit was also called in at Schalke. Meri Demiral, he was trending, to Meri Demiral out or whatever was it. I don't know, or fire Demiral. I don't know what the fuck it was. Some stupid trending tweet, but it's a little bit disgusting. Mainly because, like I said, I mean, it seems like they don't really understand this military. They seem to think that they only just started doing this now because Turkey were, I think currently they're still in a ceasefire, but we're in a war in Syria against Kurdish troops. And whether you're Turkish or Kurdish, look, I don't think any of us here are sympathizers of the current Turkish government, and I don't know if any of you is in favor of war, but I sure can only speak for myself, but I would never be in favor of war. But at the end of the day, supporting your troops is not the same thing as supporting a war, in my opinion. I mean, look...
Turkey is and always has been a very misunderstood country. I think that's one of the key takeaways from the last 10 days or so in Turkish affairs, whether it's football, politics, anything at all.
Yeah, but what people also need to understand, like outsiders, Turkey is a country where military duty is still obligatory for men, at least. And in many of the European countries where they've now come out and spoken out against this, that's not the case. It's not been the case since the 60s or the 70s or whatever. Or maybe the 80s, whatever. But a long time ago, at least, like 1 or 2 generations ago. And the thing is as well, I think what you need to keep in mind is when you are still, if you know that at one point or another military service is going to be a part of your life, or it already has been, I think your connection with those soldiers is greater than it would be for, let's say, in Belgium, like where I live, where there's no military service anymore. I mean, I don't think people really have a connection to soldiers here. But at the end of the day, whether you agree with a war or not, I don't think that soldiers are deserving of scrutiny, in the sense that, of course, if they could commit atrocities, that's something else. But at the end of the day, those are people that sacrifice their own safety for the safety of others, of a country, of an entire country. And I think respect for those people should always be in place, whether you agree with war or not, or with the campaigns or not. Yakup, you've been very quiet. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think you guys pretty much summed it up. I'm going to preface it with saying that I'm not the most educated about this stuff, but it being the position Turkey is in is a little bit difficult for people to understand. With the Middle East being a clusterfuck and Turkey being so close to it every time.
Yeah.
As you said, I live in the Netherlands. You live in Belgium. The military service here isn't compulsory. You don't have to do it. It's more a job here. So people don't really think of the military the way they do in Turkey. In Turkey, it's pretty much intertwined into daily life. And seeing the posts online, seeing the criticism from the football teams and everything, it's really a kick in the dick. But after all of these, Turkey has been going through this stuff for a long time. So I've grown to be used to it. How bad that seems to sound. Yeah, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah, but it's almost xenophobic the way that they went about it. Like, making a military salute is suddenly condoning racial purifying or genocide or whatever, which is completely not the case. And it just seems so. Yeah.
There was a lot of xenophobic and actually downright racist trash talk from a lot of people across Europe and across the world as a result of Turkey's action in Syria. And then some people who know nothing about anything to do with Turkey or Turkish affairs suddenly became experts overnight. And as we see a lot of the time with the internet, a lot of these kind of keyboard warriors talking crap, vilifying Turkey, saying that Turkey is a nation of barbarians, blah blah blah, all this nonsense. And that's been really the most frustrating thing, because, as you say, people just don't understand the issues, don't understand the context, and have these kind of preconceived ideas, which are essentially racist. So it's pretty bad. And sorry to cut you off, but I think the importance of football is so important here, because football is the international sport of the world. And if you do well in football, everyone knows your country, your players. They get a taste of what's going on in your country. So for Turkey to be topping the group of the qualifiers, in a group with France, who are the world champions, is a really big deal. And we should be very proud of the players for having come this far and being on the verge of Euro 2020. If we qualify for Euro 2020, it cements Turkey's place in Europe, because this is the biggest sporting event in Europe. Turkey's going to be a part of that, qualifying alongside France most likely. So to make sure that we don't get sucked into that Middle Eastern clusterfuck, we have to constantly make sure that we're engaging in European competitions, in football, in Champions League, cultural affairs, blah, blah, blah. So the importance of Turkey topping this group shouldn't be underestimated.
Yeah, and that's enough politics, I guess. This isn't a political show, of course. You might think it of the last 5 minutes or so, but let's move on to football. The Super League returns with matchday 8, and on Friday, the reigning defending Super League champions Galatasaray took on Sivasspor at the Türk Telekom Arena, or what is it called these days? Turk Telecom Stadium, or just the Ali Samian Stadium, I guess. And Galatasaray came out on top, winning 3-2. Goals here coming a brace from Florian Andone in the 21st and 42nd minute. The first one was a really good taken goal from at the edge of the box after he took it. I think Ryan Babel played it into him. A screamer of a goal. The second one was a penalty. Then we have a red card in the 48th minute for Isaac Coffey. Aruna Kone pulled one back for Sivasspor in the 69th minute. Ryan Babel made it 3-1 in the 74th minute. And had a very interesting celebration. And then in the 84th minute, Erdogan Yeşilyurt put the final scoreline on the scoreboard. 3-2. Galatasaray pick up an important 3 points. And Özer will be telling us a little bit more about this match.
Yes, the 3 points. İlaç gibi, as they say in Turkey. We really, really needed to win this game. Previous match before the break was, of course, the 0-0 against Gençler, who were rock bottom in the previous match day. We played dreadful football, and if we take our minds back to Terim's press conference after that game, he said, look, maybe I should take some of the blame, having continued to rely on the same players week in, week out. Maybe I should have given some of the youngsters a chance to prove themselves, some hungry players. Maybe I should have done that. And then, of course, fast forward to matchday 8. What does he do? He plays more or less exactly the same team that played against Gençler, with the exception of the 2 wing-backs. Still, we had Belhanda playing. Still, we had Babel playing. So really, I got the impression from looking at that matchday squad that he hadn't learned anything from the previous game. Let's get it stuck into the action. Andone, like you said, scored an absolute screamer of a goal. Really, really excellent goal. He was, you might say, he was channeling his inner Falcao. Such was the gracefulness and the elegance of that shot. I was really impressed. I know that Andone is a good player. I likened him a few weeks ago to Almanda, but I didn't think he had it in him to score such an awesome goal like that. So, if you haven't seen it, do check it out on the beIN Sports app. And to Babel, so Ryan Babel is a curious case, because he actually gave the assist to Andone, like you said, Kaan, and he played some decent football at times in the first half. But man, he was so wasteful as well. I mean, the whole Ryan Babel moving in from the left and trying to cut in on the right has been done and dusted like 1,000 times already this season. And I think 999 of those times have just been a complete waste. And you're just screaming at the TV saying, oh, Ryan Babel, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then, of course, the 1,000th time in this match, it became a goal. So it's such a he's such a frustrating player to watch, and he's so wasteful a lot of the time. But at least there's that one occasion where he does something productive. He gave the assist, he gave the goal. So I wouldn't say he's had a great game, but looking at the stats on paper, I mean, he's probably earned himself. In fact, no, let's be honest, he's definitely earned himself a start against Real Madrid. And, I got really nothing more to say about Belhanda. What else? Oh, yeah, the wing-back. So Nagatomo and Mariano were dropped in favour of Şener and Emre Taşdemir, who I think both had a very good game, to be fair. They both, despite having a lot of lack of match fitness, played pretty well. They made some key tackles, particularly, I think it was Şener who made a really good tackle in the middle of the box, which would have been a 100% goal otherwise. And I want to create another paragraph for Emre Mor as well, because 3 weeks ago he was not even in the matchday squad for PSG, which I thought, and a lot of people thought, was just scandalous from Terim. Because, okay, the guy had my issues off the pitch, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't really care about that stuff. If the guy is playing football, he makes a difference. He's fast, he's tricky, he loves to face goal when he runs. Like, he offers something very, very different to that nobody else in the squad really has. So it was a huge mistake for him not to have played him against PSG. At least he's thought about putting him in the starting lineup, and I think that was the right move. That was his best decision for the Sivasspor match. I hope he continues with that with the Real Madrid game. I'd like to see him play. What about Muslera as well? Muslera made two really key, critical saves in the first half that would have any other goalkeeper could have led in, and Sivas could have been 2-0 up within 20 minutes. So let's take nothing away from Sivas' performance. They're a very good team. Despite going 10 men down to 10 men in the second half, they continued attacking. They scored. They put us in great difficulty, actually. Sivas are a good team. And actually, this fixture, if you look at it historically, is always a bit of a goal fest. So 3-2, 5 goals. This is one of those games where the gambling men amongst us should always back for over 2.5 goals. That's a lesson for the future.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of flattering scoreline maybe at halftime, because as you said, Sivasspor did have a good game at the end of the day, and they did get that consolation late on, and it made it a close call. But at the end of the day, they couldn't really, after that, after Andona's goal, they couldn't really ever, I think, aspire to a point anymore, despite playing a decent match. But yeah, Brian Babel's goal was really good too. What did you think of the celebration?
Yeah, well, okay, so he was doing the whole chat stuff with his hands. I read that as being haters gonna hate kind of thing, because people have been slagging him off on social media because he's been playing bad, and he's been giving all these kind of subliminal Facebook message, Instagram messages and Twitter messages and stuff. And quite frankly, like, listen, he should, if he scores week in, week out, then no one will say anything. Or at least if he plays well week in, week out. But he can't score a game and score a goal and make an assist 1 week and then do nothing for 4 weeks just to have this kind of cocky attitude and celebration. So, I get why he did it. He's got a personality. He's a bit of an arrogant guy. That's fine. But as long as he converts that, channels that energy, channels that arrogance into playing well, then no one's going to say anything. He should stick to responding on the pitch as he did at the weekend. So that's fine.
And nothing really, I think, on the red card. It was a double booking.
Yeah.
Both yellows were very clear, I think. The penalty, my friend said it was soft. When I looked at it, I really didn't think so. I thought it was a clear-cut penalty. Anything anyone wants to add on this match?
Nothing. I just want to say another few words about Falcao, because he hasn't trained with the team in almost 3 weeks, and I'm really not sure why. He's supposed to have some injury, some knock. But I get this impression that there's something more sinister going on behind the scenes. I don't know enough to really comment on it at this stage, but I wonder if Umut would agree, or if you think, looking ahead to Real Madrid, is Falcao going to make an appearance? I think it's unlikely. And what's going on there? I don't know. I think it's very curious, to say the least.
He's like this action figure that you buy that's a really rare edition, and there's a few scratches on it, and you want to keep it in the box because as soon as you take it out of the box and
why would there be scratches on it if it's still in the box?
Well, I don't know. That is the mystery. That is Falcao, right? And as soon as you take him out the box, he meets, the chemicals combine, and his knee starts to disintegrate. So that's why he's being kept in a box. But I want to see him play, but I don't know. What is your conspiracy theory about Falcao? Let us know.
I mean, he's old enough, and I was against this transfer because these star transfers, just let us down too many times. Not only for Galatasaray, even for Beşiktaş and Fenerbahçe. We are used to that, and we almost half knew what was gonna happen, but they just, I don't know why, but wasted the whole summer transferring one single guy for the forward position, and then eventually Andana came, fortunately for us, to save the position for us. But I don't know, they are just hungry for money because their intention of playing football is they're not the priority anymore. Just came for the fame and doesn't deliver anything.
I don't necessarily agree with that in this case, because I do think that Falcao wants to use this as an opportunity to reinvent himself. I mean, we've got Champions League, we've got the passionate fans, etc. I do think that he's hungry to play. I wish the club would be more transparent with the injury or with the reason that he's not been training, because I think Lemina's been injured, but he's still been training with the team. And I don't know, maybe he has an issue with Terim has an issue with him, something like that. I don't know. Time will tell, but I do think if given the opportunity and full fitness, he would relish to play again, whether it's the Champions League or Turkish League. I don't think he's the kind of guy that he just came for the money.
No, but what do you think it is then?
We'll see.
Problems with the coach, like you say, or maybe money issue? I mean, I can't imagine it's that he's not getting paid this early on in the season. I mean, even if he wasn't, I don't think that would be an issue already. So I don't know. It's a weird situation for sure. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Maybe he'll play against the Beşiktaş's C team on the weekend. But more of that later. Let's move on to Saturday results. Antalyaspor getting trashed, absolutely demolished at home by Gençlerbirliği, who were last week, like you said, they're still rock bottom of the table, and I remember Burak saying that you guys should be beating them easily. Well, Antalyaspor apparently didn't get that memo that they should be beating Gençlerbirliği easily, because this match ended 0-6. And yes, there was a red card in this match, but honestly, I don't really think that played that much of a role, because after just 1 minute, Candeias already made it 1-0 to Gençlerbirliği. 13 minutes in, Giovanni Siu made it 2-0. Then again Candeias in the 21st minute, making it 3-0. Then Bahadır Öztürk got sent off with a direct red card for a last man foul. I think that was on Siu as well. Then in the 37th minute, Candeias scores again to make it 4-0. I believe that was his hat-trick. Yeah, he completed his hat-trick there. Then in the 42nd minute, Giovanni Siu made it 5-0. And then one more goal in the second half through Bogdan Stancu in the 57th minute to make it 6-0. Stancu also got 2 assists in this match. So Candeias got 3 goals and 2 assists. And then Giovanni Siu got 2 goals and I believe an assist as well, if I'm not mistaken. So 6-0, not much to say, I think, Burak, but you're gonna tell us a little bit more about this match.
Well, leading into this match, you're like, okay, we've had an international break, but you've got Antalyaspor just coming off the back of having beaten Fenerbahçe 1-0 in Istanbul. So you've got to think, there's a bit of confidence there in the squad. And then you've got Gençlerbirliği, who are rock bottom. You think, okay, maybe there's an issue of morale, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be an interesting match. And it's been played in Antalya as well. Within a minute, Gençler are 1-0 up via Candeias after some horrendous defending, which is going to be like the focal point of the game. And within another 10 minutes, Siu 2-0. And then the third goal by Daniel Candeias. It was just awful defending by the Antalyaspor player. He turned 360 degrees on the spot. He wasn't in that much danger. He had time to either pass the ball out, pass the ball back to defence. I've got no idea what happened. He just lost his head completely, and Candeias just run through and slid it underneath Bofan. And then 23rd minute, red card for Bahadır Öztürk. Again, Sio's running past him, and he's probably just looked at this and thought, fuck this. I don't want any more. He just professionally fouled him and got hauled off the pitch. And then again, Candea scores again, CO scores again. Those two linked up really well, assisted each other. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Did score a goal? No, you score a goal. Sen Alabi, San Vorabi. And they're just having a little bit of a game there. It's 5-0 after 42 minutes. Antalya are just completely decimated. They've been ripped apart. And after the break, Stanku scores probably one of the best of the 6 goals, actually, for me anyway, because I do love a chip over the keeper. So even though Candace and CO had some great goals, some good volleys and some good curling shots, the class from Stanku to chip it over the goalkeeper was immense. Antalya did score twice, but it was ruled out twice for offside correctly. The first goal was offside, unfortunately, and the second one, even though it was a rocket that went in, the guy received the ball in an offside position to start with the Antalyaspor player. And you're looking at this team and you're thinking, how the hell did they beat Fenerbahce 1-0 and they've gone from that to that straight away? But they are being managed by Bülent Korkmaz, and he's used to losing 6-0, so I think that is what's happened. I don't know, Artur Sheju was just a passenger, but I think getting hammered that early on just must have demoralised the team, and they just couldn't overcome it. So it was a shame to see Nazım Sangare just looking crestfallen and disappointed. But this is the shock result of the weekend. Because the bottom place team against Antalya, who have got a decent squad, made some good signings, been playing okay, beat Fenerbahce, but they just got absolutely mauled 6-0. So it just goes to show that this league is so up and down. And we had some other crazy goal fests this match day week as well. So you cannot say the Super League is not entertaining, and you never know what's going to happen. So that is why you have to tune in every week, because you never know who's going to get hammered 4-0, or when there's going to be 3 red cards, or when they're going to do a coalbuster on the pitch after the game. So
yeah,
everything is something happening.
Exactly. 34 goals, I think I'm counting this match day, so it was absolutely insane. It would have been nice if it would have been a couple more as a Beşiktaş fan. But talking about Kolbasta, I believe our dear friend Yakup Marufoglu was probably dancing after the Trabzonspor Gaziantep match finished. That one finished 4-1, and guess who got on the score sheet for the first time? Indeed, Daniel Sturridge in the 9th minute, and then 5 minutes later he assisted Alexander Surlov's 2-0 as well. Then Jefferson pulled one back in the 54th minute to make it 2-1 to Gaziantep, and that was really deserved at that point. I felt like Gaziantep had been pushing, and they deserved to get back into the match, but then Jose Sosa scored from outside the box. The commentator liked it a little bit too much to my liking for a shot that didn't really go. No, but just the shot, he was like acting like it was an amazing strike from distance, and then I looked at the replay and it was like really quite central, and the goalkeeper should have done more there. And then Yusuf Sarı made it 4-1 in the 81st minute. And then Kayode got his second direct red of the season, again after a VAR check. After he had initially already gotten a red card a couple of weeks ago against Beşiktaş, after he got into it with Mohamed El Neni. So yeah, he gets sent off again, so yeah. I don't know what's up with that guy. He's a really good player, I feel like. He also caused a lot of havoc in this match. He was fundamental, I believe, in the goal that they ended up scoring. And he's just a really quick and good attacker for a counter-attacking team. But I don't know, he has these little nasty tendencies. But Yakup, tell us a little bit more about what you felt when Daniel Sturridge scored, and just your general...
Yeah, I unfortunately couldn't watch the game live because I was working. So first of all, why the fuck is a game being played at like 4:30 in the evening? You know, that's my first complaint. But I kept an eye on the match, and I felt my phone in my pocket buzzing like a lot. and it was a couple of friends of mine that also knew that, you know, I'm waiting for Daniel Sturridge to score one, and I thought, it might have happened. So I excused myself, and I saw the dance. I couldn't find the goal. It was a really annoying 2 minutes or so to find the goal online. But yeah, I'm so happy, man. I'm so happy that he finally scored. He deserves it. You know, he still isn't really like fit enough to play 90 minutes. But you can see that when he's on the pitch, the guy is just the quality is just dripping off him. You know, he has a really good vision. In the second goal, you could see that. You know, in the first goal, you can see him really shouting for the ball. You know, you can see that he's very hungry for the goal. And nice play from Sørloth, you know, to get the ball to him. We get to see his dance. Everybody in Trabzon did the dance, and I'm sure a lot of people put it on Instagram, Twitter. I'm not a dancer, so I didn't. But in the second goal, you can just see the pass that he gave to Sørloth. It's just a really wonderful pass, you know, and he seems to get better day after day. And I can't wait to see him, you know, when the team is back with players like Ekuban and Abdülkadir, to see how we will play with those guys, you know. But the game in general, I thought that, you know, the team just keeps putting their performance higher and higher every week. It seems a lot of thanks goes to Ünal Karaman and the players on the pitch, of course. But this was a game that we should have won, and we did. Generally, Trabzonspor has a problem that whenever they play a game that could have them top the league, if they win, they just crumble under the pressure and they don't get a win. But they did. There are a couple of points of the game. There was a kind of penalty shot from Gaziantep in the first half. I don't know which player it was from them, but it was with Hussein from us. The summary just showed it in slow motion. It didn't really look like a penalty to me. There was a little bit of contact, but I thought the Gaziantep player went down too easily. The potential red card that Sosa could have gotten. He was too late to the ball. He did get the ball, but he just kept going and hit the opponent on the leg with his leg. I generally think that positions like that are a red card. But he got a yellow card, which is okay. It could have been a red, but I think it might have been a harsh one. The goal that Gaziantep scored, it looked preventable. It all stems from a mistake by Hussein that really couldn't get the ball from the attacking player. Not a lot of strength on his body, and if he could have pushed him a little bit harder, it wouldn't have ended in a goal. The goal from Sosa, I like the guy, but as you said, the commentator maybe did a little bit too much. But
really important goal though,
really important goal. But I remember because the commentator was the same one that commentated the match last year, in which Rodallega scored a bicycle kick. So that was probably the reason they got the guy for this match, because something like that might happen, and it did. But I'm happy because as I've said numerously, I like Sosa. He's probably my favorite player on the pitch. And after the game, I read a couple of stats. I don't know if they I kind of checked them to look if they were true or not. But it's supposedly he's the player that received the ball the most, the player with the most accurate passes, the player with the most passes, player with the most won duels. And
in this match or in general?
In this match. And you can see that for a player of his age, it's wonderful to see that. Then to see the goal that Yusuf got, I did see that one. I did see that one live. I'm happy that I'm happy that he's back from his injury. So we got another player on the wings, and that he got his goal. And I hope he gets a little bit of confidence back. I didn't like the the celebration, to be honest. I thought like you just came back from your injury, maybe don't do like 6 flips.
Yeah.
And but it ended well. It was funny to see him hug Sørloth, because there's like a half-meter difference in height between them. It looked like a dad, caressing a child from, and congratulating them with a good performance. And lastly, the red card that you talked about for Gaziantep. We know seeing it live in the tempo that the match was in, it's kind of hard to see it immediately as a red card. So I get that. I get why he gave a yellow, but seeing it in VAR and seeing the elbow come up, it really looked deliberate to me. You can maybe say that because Yusuf is a really tiny guy, it looked more like like a battle for the ball.
Mm-hmm. But he did the same thing. It's really, really curious because he did the exact same thing with El Neni a couple of weeks ago. Well, it's not exact same. It's not like a carbon copy, but it's the same thing basically, like giving a little dirty elbow in a duel because he's frustrated, I think. And when I understand that you can do that if there's no VAR, but when VAR is looking and you just got a red card for that like 3-4 weeks ago, why on earth are you still doing that? It's so stupid.
The only thing I can think about is probably that he was frustrated, and probably the celebration that Yusuf did, that he was like, that's a little bit disrespectful, you won the game and stuff, but maybe tone it down. But that's the only thing I can imagine. I'm not saying that that's the reason why he did it, but the spur of the moment, the heat of the moment, it is what it is. So we were the number one on the leaderboard. That was good to see. The team seems to gel together again. The city seems to believe in it. I can't wait for the potential downfall after the winter break. I hope it won't happen, but I'm happy with the result.
Yeah. Anyone's got anything to add to Trabzonspor, who I don't know, I think right now looks like the team to beat for the title, not counting Alanyaspor. Am I right in saying that, or is it a little early for that?
Definitely front runners. They play attractive, fast-paced football, and when they get their injured players back, they're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. It's just whether they can stay consistent, which Yakup mentioned might be an issue, but they've been playing together for a long time now. Yes, they'd lost Yusuf Yazıcı and Abdülkadir is injured right now, but they've got players that have. You can see that they've stepped up. They're still playing the same style of football. They still got. They play with pace and intensity, and they get the ball forward quickly. They move out quickly, so they're a good team to watch. They're an enjoyable team to watch, and definitely up there with the favourites, I think, to win the league.
And they can still get better, like you said, with Abdülkadir. Although I don't know how quickly he'll be back, but Ekuban will be coming back soonish. And then, they could still potentially even get one or two good players in the winter. Not that they really need it, but I think maybe if they get like one Fabian Ernst or Federico Giunti type signing, Beşiktaş fans will know what I'm talking about. Then could really give them a great chance, I think. Anyone anything to add to Trabzonspor, or shall we move on to the next match? Okay, moving forward, Başakşehir takes on Göztepe at the Fatih Terim Stadium, or is it still called that actually? That match ended 2-1 in favor of Başakşehir. Frederik Gulbrandsen put the hosts ahead in the 11th minute, but Soner Aydoldu scored against his ex-club in the 64th minute to make it 1-1. Right before that, he had missed an incredible sitter, by the way. But then in the second minute of stoppage time, Martin Şükürtel put the 2-1 on the scoreboard after some fierce pressure from Başakşehir, and Okan Buruk gets the 3 points. He seems to have turned things around. Başakşehir had a terrible start to the season, pretty much the same thing as Beşiktaş, but contrary to Abdullah Avcı at Beşiktaş, Okan Buruk has been able to turn things around so far, and Başakşehir get 3 points here, and Umut will be telling us a little bit more about this match.
Başakşehir started the game without Daniel Aleksic this time. Okan Buruk went with Gökhan Inler, and we could see that many of the Başakşehir players were tired of the international break because they gave like 3 players to the national team this season. İrfan Can, Mahmut Tekdemir, and Mert Günok played 90 minutes in the French game, so they looked tired in the game a bit. And Başakşehir, even though their tiredness didn't affect, but because Başakşehir started the game dominating the game, and Beto made some crucial saves during the first half, denying too many goal opportunities for Başakşehir. And goal came from a pass from Epriano, like a 4-meter ground pass, which is incredible for him, and very nice off the ball run from Gulbrandsen to finish it well in the near post. But it's firstly denied by the officials as offside, but VAR said it's fair, and goal was given after the VAR check. And ex-Başakşehir player Marcio Mossoro made 2 harsh tackles on Mahmut Tekdemir and İrfan Can, but only one of them got a yellow card. However, I believe he should be sent off after his second offense to İrfan Can, because first he done to Mahmut Tekdemir was a studs to his leg directly, but no card was given to that offense. After the goal, Göztepe found chances, and single of them, one of them came from Soner Aydoğdu, like from a set piece. He crossed and the ball just went over the post. And as you said earlier, he missed a sitter from just in front of the goal, which came to his wicker foot, right foot, and he missed it. And after the second half, he found a chance from the central area and tried his chances from a long way out, and found a goal for Göztepe and beating Mert. And we are aware that he is capable of doing this because he is recently impressing for Göztepe, and I think he should carry on for that. He's carrying the team right now and ability to make a difference for Göztepe, I believe. Also, after conceding the game, Başakşehir turned into offensive play once and for all and bombarding the Göztepe goal, but without any luck, they had to wait until 90 plus second minute to find a goal, which a lucky corner bounce from everyone to drop right in front of Şükürtel to finish it for Başakşehir, and Başakşehir won the game 2-1.
Yeah, good win for Başakşehir, and they pick up 3 vital points. Unless anyone has anything to add, let's move over to the next match. Nope. Okay, let's move over. Ankaragücü Beşiktaş. This match ended in a very disappointing 0-0. The only match this weekend in which there were no goals. And it was just really a bore fest. I felt like there was the highlight of the match was the red card for Sedat Acay in the 76th minute. He got basically 2 yellow cards in the span of, I don't know, 5 seconds or something. He got a yellow card, and then he was still mouthing off a little bit against the ref, and he got another yellow or direct red. I'm not even sure if he got a second yellow or direct red. But it was a little bizarre. Yeah, apart from that, Beşiktaş missed, I think, 2 really good opportunities. Ankaragücü, it was really very much a tale of one team that really has probably the least quality in the entire league, being Ankaragücü. Although the difference wasn't big. But that they just really, the thing with Ankaragücü is they are probably on paper the worst team in the league. But they're not in the bottom 3 for a reason. That's because they really do give it their all every match. And that was the same here again. They just gave it their all. They made it into a really physical match. Not in a dirty way or anything. But they just made it a physical game. Made it difficult for Beşiktaş to do anything. Beşiktaş, like I said, I think they had 2 really good opportunities or so. But that's really not enough over 90 minutes against Ankaragücü. Yeah, I think maybe Beşiktaş probably would have won this Had Burak Yilmaz not gotten injured and had to be subbed off before that red card to Sedat, I mean, I think if you have Burak on the pitch in the final 20 minutes with the opponent down to 10 men, you'll probably find a goal. But as Umut mentioned before, with Irfan Can and Mahmoud being tired after the international break, I do really blame Şenol Güneş for Burak really being injured again, because he's just only gotten back from a 2+ month injury. He's 34 years old. He's already injury prone. He's still picking up form. Beşiktaş had already rested him in between league games in Europe. So they rested him against Wolves in order not to risk another injury. And then Şenol Güneş goes and just plays him 180+ minutes in the international break. I understand that he starts him against Albania, but against France I really don't get why he just couldn't start Cenk and maybe bring Burak on in the last 20 minutes or so. It just feels like a lack of respect from the national team coach to both Burak and his club. But again here, Burak, I'm sure that Burak said I want to play against France because he did the same thing here. Abdullah Avci said after the match that he already had some pains but insisted on playing, and I'm sure it was the same against France. But then coaches need to step up and protect the players from themselves. But yeah, Beşiktaş don't really have anything except for Burak up top, and you can see that as soon as he's off, that they're kind of decapitated. Umut Nair came on as a sub. Had a one-on-one opportunity, missed that. Then probably the biggest chance of the entire match came for Abdoulaye Diaby. Really good open goal-scoring opportunity, but he hits it straight at Kulisic, who came diving in with a tackle to clear it off the line. And in the first half, the best opportunity was also for Beşiktaş, where Abdoulaye Diaby basically cut through the heart of the Ankaragücü defense, and at the last fraction of a second, Kulisic managed to put his foot against the shot that Diaby was firing at goal, because that probably would have been a goal too. So Beşiktaş definitely could have won this match, but at the end of the day, they lack quality. Ankaragücü, I think, over the course of the 90 minutes, didn't really create any really good opportunities, but they played a very good hard-fought match. The red card for Sedat was weird. I don't think we know why exactly. The only thing I can think of is that he swore at the ref, and you can see in the replay that he was still talking and kind of had this like little bit of a venomous look on his face, like he was, I don't know, having a go at the ref. And this is a new referee, by the way. That was his first Super League match, if I'm not mistaken. And I think overall, I think he had a really good game. Don't know what you guys thought of his performance. Anything to add about the dreadful Beşiktaş performance, who, after this match, by the way, they didn't only lose Burak Yilmaz, but they've also lost Abdoulaye Diaby, apparently, and Douglas to injury. Adding that to the already watch list of injuries they already have with Dorukhan Tokuz, Gökhan Gönül. He might be fit for the Galatasaray derby, I'm not sure about that. Oğuzhan Yakup, George Kevin Nkudu. I think in total Beşiktaş have like 6 or 7 injured players right now. So next week they play Galatasaray, and not to mention they still have a European game as well. So I don't know what Beşiktaş are going to field in those matches, but it's not even going to be a B team, it's going to be a C team. So it's going to be a very interesting derby at Vodafone Park next week, because Beşiktaş look like they're going to have to field a very experimentary side. Anything to add, guys?
No, let's just end your misery and move on, Kaan.
Oh, I thank you. Okay, well, let's move on to Sunday then. Kayserispor Kasımpaşa. This match ended in a 1-1 draw after Mehmet Tiam had put Kasımpaşa 1-0 up in the 6th minute, and Pedro Henrique got the equalizer in the 56th minute, so 50 minutes later. And Yakup is going to tell us a little bit more about this match.
So, I thought it was a really weird match. It seemed like it looked like how people think football should be played. A lot of attacking, but no end product. I wrote in my notes it was like a game of two halves. I thought that Kasımpaşa in the first half was maybe a little bit better. The second half, Kayseri was a little bit better, but Yeah, as I said, it was a lot of kicking balls into the box, and then nothing happened. Kicking balls like kinda to the goal, nothing happened. It was like, it was a frustrating game to watch, to be honest. A lot of play on the midfield, but when it came to the goal, it was like, oh shit, we forgot how to play football. What are we supposed to do? It was a game with a couple of penalty shouts. I don't know if it's because of VAR that people seem to catch up to these a little bit more. But there was like one against Kasımpaşa, a corner from Kayserispor, and it hit Pektemek on the arm. But I'm pretty sure that I'm not a man of the law. But if a penalty was given, it should have been really, really way too soft. As I said, a lot of attacking positions, but none of them showed any actual danger. The first goal that Kasımpaşa scored in the game, it looked really preventable. It seemed like the players were like, nothing won't happen, and Kasımpaşa player just came and just took the ball. It looked like the players were maybe sleeping during the match a lot. The Kayserispor goal was really weird. It looked like, I'm sure that everyone who played football on a pitch knows it. Sometimes you just score and you just scratch your head like, what did I do to score this? And the player, I haven't got the name here, but he got a good cross, but he tried to shoot it, but the ball just hit him in the hip and it went in. It was like, I guess it's a goal. You can't disallow a goal for being for not being a good one, but it was a really weird one. As I said, the first half, maybe Kasımpaşa deserved it more. The second half, Kayseri got back into it. For me, it was nice to see Bilal Başacıkoğlu play good again. Being an ex-Feyenoord player and me being a Feyenoorder, it's nice to see players like that. A player that I really liked in the Netherlands, a really, really good player, really technical player. It's good to see him have a good game, He's still not to his Feyenoord form, to be honest. Had a couple dangerous shots on goal, if I remember correctly. But other than that, it was kind of a frustrating match, to be honest.
Yeah. He was a great player at Heerenveen, and then when he first came to Kayserispor, he had a really good start too, but then he completely faded away and kind of dropped off of the radar. Was he injured or something?
I don't know. I think I don't have any basis for this. Just to say that. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of he's a really young player, and living in a place like Kayseri, maybe not the best situation for him. That he got a little bit, not concentrated on on football. Coming from a place like Rotterdam to Kayseri is maybe a little bit hard for a player of his age. But once again, I don't think this is the reason. I don't think this is the reason. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if he got injured. I do think he got injured back when he first came to Kayserispor. But as I said, and as you said, he was really good at Heerenveen. Maybe he wasn't really that good at Feyenoord, but the year they won the league, he was really pivotal. He was a good sub, and with Elia on one wing and with him on another wing, it's weird to see Elia perform pretty well and Bilal not, it will be all right. I think he's a player that is of the caliber to play in the national team, but maybe I'm just looking way too far into the future.
Well, we need wingers desperately, so let's hope that he picks up his form, and Veysel Sarı too. Veysel Sarı, what am I saying? Yusuf Sarı too, of course. Yeah, Veysel Sarı on the wing. Let's go against Iceland. But let's move over to the next match because I think Özer's time is almost up. So quickly, let's move over to Alanyaspor Rizespor score. This match ended 5-2, so another high-scoring match. Goals here coming from Ceyhun Gülsalam in the 16th minute, putting Alanya ahead. Papis Cisse making it 2-9 according to my notes, but no, 2-0 in the 29th minute for Alanyaspor. Then Anastasios Bakasetas made it 3-0 in the 51st minute. Then Fernando Boldrin pulled one back from the spot in the 66th minute. But just 4 minutes later, Junior Fernandez would make it 4-1. Then Fernando Boldrin again making it, pulling one back for Çaykur Rizespor in the 73rd minute, making it 4-2. And then Papis Cisse putting the final score on the scoreboard in the 75th minute. So in a time span of 5 minutes there, well, really in the time span of 9 minutes, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4 goals. That was crazy. So a goal fest in Alanya. Papis Cisse scoring his 8th goal in 8 matches. And Özer will be telling us a little bit more about this match.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the rise of Alanyaspor this season. They might be a bit of a flash in the pan, but they're playing some really sexy football. And I think they're competing with Trabzon as being the most hipster team in this season's Super League. I mean, they play some really fast-paced football. They make some slick passes. The front, well, Cisse and Junior Fernandez, but are on fire. But you mentioned Bakasetas, is it? Is the Greek striker?
Anastasios
The front three of those guys, that's the one. That front three is really on lethal form. And behind them you've got Ceyhun as well, who's having a bit of a renaissance. And I was just checking out the stats of the Alanyaspor squad. So Cisse has 8 goals, Junior Fernandez 4 with 2 assists, Arman Bakasetas 2 goals, 4 assists, and Ceyhun, who would have thought it, 3 goals and 1 assist. So the 4 of them together have 24 goals for Alanyaspor. And really, they are playing some really awesome football. They destroyed Rizespor, really, and Rizespor are not a bad team. And if you watch the highlights as well, you can see that Cisse himself could have at least got a hat-trick in this game.
Oh yeah.
There was one triple chance over the course of about 3 seconds where he hit target 3 times, I think. But
yeah, 5
one
seconds
time
or so,
yeah, exactly. Defender got in the way, goalkeeper got in the way. So yeah, there's some at times chaotic football, but it's really fun to watch. And Ceyhun, who I think he said that he got on the score sheet first for this game with a really great header. Bakasetas' goal was really good as well. Yeah, I mean, let's see how far Alanya can go. I mean, it's a small town on the Turkish Riviera. I would like to see them do well, because I think it will be a fun place for Europeans to come to if they reach the Europa League. But it's still early days. A lot of the guys whose names I mentioned as being on fire, they are actually on the wrong side of, well, I think Cisse is 34, but probably in form of his life.
34.
So,
He's from 85.
Yeah,
but it's funny. He's got 8 goals in 8 matches, but he probably could have had 12 or 13 already.
Right.
He's missing a lot of opportunities, but he's getting in so many opportunities at the same time too. And it's quite remarkable that Alanyaspor had the top goal scorer in the league 3 years ago, I think, with Wagner Love. Then they kind of struggled a little bit. They got Bobo back from Australia. That didn't really work out. The former Beşiktaş player. But then they went and got Papis Cisse as well, and he's been a great success for them. Guys, anything to add to this match?
No, not really.
No, I just think this stint with Alanyaspor could be Erol Bulut's audition to become the next manager of Fenerbahce. So.
Fenerbahce, you guys don't need a coach. We need a coach soon, I think.
Hands off, we want him first.
Yeah, no, I'll take second. Actually, I don't wish that job on anyone right now. It's a terrible position. Anyway, nothing to add, lads. Alanyaspor playing fantastic football. What can we say? They're continue. And like I said last time, when Beşiktaş beat them last match day 2-0, but Alanyaspor in that match did really show why they are top of the table. Despite losing 2-0, they were still by far the dominant team in that match, and they got a little bit unlucky with the penalty not going their way, and Beşiktaş, well, I think the Beşiktaş penalty was clear, but then they should have had a penalty afterwards, probably. They were really good in that game too, and sometimes you lose even when you're playing well, and Alanyaspor seem to be it's one of those teams that they don't have any pressure. They're just playing their football, and maybe this will end at some point in the second half of the season. I'm sure that Trabzonspor and Fenerbahce and Galatasaray fans are hoping it will. Oh, Başakşehir fans. But yeah, anyway.
Good joke.
Yeah, let's move over to the next one. Denizlispor Fenerbahce. The scene of that nightmarish 106 minutes of football over, like almost 15 years ago, I think, Burak. This time it did not end in agony for you, because Fenerbahce got away with a 1-2 victory in Denizli. Goals here coming from Tolga Ziyerci in the 39th minute and Vedat Muric in the 62nd minute after a really nice steal and assist by the old man Emre Belözoğlu. And then Oscar Estupinian got one back in the 73rd minute after Altay missed a cross and didn't look too good there. But all in all, a solid win for Fenerbahce, who stay on track and rebound from their surprising defeat at the hands of Antalyaspor last week. And Burak will be telling us a bit more about this game.
Indeed, here we go. A return back to Denizli, which is never nice if you're a Fenerbahce fan, but it's a little bit nicer when you know you have a full back four going into the game. So the best left back in the world, as we know, Hasan Ali Kaldırım, back in after his foot injury pre-season, and a welcome return for Serdar Aziz as well, who actually had a very good game and was a lot of people's man of the match. And I had to say I was impressed with his performance. It's just keeping him fit, which is going to be the issue. And the right side of the fence lined up with Mauricio Isla, who's making his much welcome return from injury as well. He just seems a little bit off the pace, but it's good to have defenders playing in their actual positions. The curse of the lefties. So Max Kruse unfortunately was injured, so we could not play him. And of course, Gary Rodriguez was back, a little speedster on the left, but it did mean that we had to shunt Ozan Tufan out onto the right wing, which is not his position. And I feel sorry for the guy, because he's had to play in a lot of different positions this season. But to be fair, he's pretty much, he's done a job. He's been professional. He's worked very hard. What I must say is I was impressed with the work rate of the team on the Sunday that we played with them. Tolga Ziyerci, despite missing a whole season last season, his willingness to work and run, I didn't like it when we were putting him out on the wing. I mean, he could kind of do a job there, but the guy's 6'3", 6'4", is probably like 90 kilos. He's not going to be running around for 90 odd minutes. But I just felt that again there was a lack of cutting edge about the team. It all felt a bit lethargic, a bit slow. I had more confidence in the defence with regards to when Denizlispor attacked. I was not really under too much stress when we were soaking up the pressure, because you had both Sanka and Serdar Aziz who were good at the back. He tried a little bit of link-up play with Hasan Ali and Gary, which was okay, but then the breakthrough comes again from that man Vedat, who gets a header in, it comes off of the bar, falls to Tolga's feet, and I'm there thinking, just control it, get it on target, just try and get it on target, and he does, and it puts us 1-0 into the lead, which I think was deserved based on the balance of play. We tried to do a little bit more than Denizli had done. And then the second goal comes after you mentioned Kaan, after a lovely little play from Emre. Nicks the ball, gets his head up like any good young footballer should do, picks out Vedat, and he loves that sliding left foot finish. He scored a few goals like that. I think he scored a similar one for Kosovo in the international break, which was albeit a tap-in, but still
reminds me of Mario Gomez.
Yes, maybe he's watching his videos and getting inspiration from another great goal scorer. But Vedat for the whole match was pretty much, he just looked isolated. Apart from that, maybe that time he scored and the header, we are really struggling to play fast and quick football, quick passes. I'm not sure whether it's the lack of pace we have in our team at the moment. the fact that it's a brand new team that's been just ravaged with injuries since the start of the season, when they seem to make a good start with pace, with Moses on the right and Rodriguez on the left and Cruiser. I know we did have Hassan Ali from the start, but we had Dirad on the left and Isla was starting, and then he got injured and we had to shunt the midfield around. But it just feels all very laboured from Fenerbahce. But if you're a Fenerbahce fan listening to this, look, we're third at the moment, and we have, I can't remember how many points we have at the moment, but we've got about 14 points and we're in third. And last season we had about 16 points after 15, 16 games. So this is definitely an improvement on last season. The standard of football maybe isn't quite what we would expect as Fenerbahce fans in the last 4 or 5 games. And we've lost 2 games in the last 6 as well. So it's going to take a little bit more time. The Denizli goal, as you mentioned, just another individual error. I mean, the goals that we've been letting in have all been from individual errors pretty much. It's not as if we're being cut apart by the opposition's attack, etc. But if you look at the goals we let in against Antalya, like Jalsın error, the 3 goals we let in against Alanya, all individual errors. The goal that we let in against Denizli, Altay comes from across, completely misses it, nearly catches some bloke's head. It goes in. So even though we've been letting in goals, it's not as if we're being put under so much pressure. But the defence is doing well. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
you know what I mean? It just feels like it's a bit flat.
I completely understand what you mean. And also, one of the observations I kind of have, and I don't know if you agree with this, but in the past we've always seen Fenerbahce as a team of decent overall, but mainly relying maybe a little bit too heavily on a couple of really high-quality individuals. And I just feel like this Fenerbahce team is far more a work rate team. Like, they may not be playing the best football, but they're giving it their all, like you said before with Ozan, like you said with Tolga. I think you have a lot of those players with those characteristics who maybe don't have that quality of players of the past, high days or whatever you want to call it, but you do have that work rate. And I think in this season where I think most teams are really struggling, as we look at the point total, we're 8 matches in, and both Trabzon and Fenerbahce 14-15 points. That's not massively impressive. Normally by this point there's one team that's sticking out above the rest already, but it's really everyone can lose to anyone at any given point, it seems like, except for Trabzon. I kind of have the feeling that they don't really have those surprise defeats yet. No jinx here for you, Yakup. I'm sure you're already looking at me with a stare of death. But
no, you're right.
But yeah, but in general, I just feel like I don't know what's better: a team that has that Talisca, Alex type player that can maybe, when you are having a shit game, still win it for you, or just a team like this with Fenerbahce that just gives it their all constantly. Anyway, yeah, maybe you'll have a bad one against Antalya, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're doing better than both Beşiktaş, especially, and Galatasaray are right now. Galatasaray, who have by far the on paper the most quality in the league. They should be on top of the league with the maximum of the points, a la Liverpool, pre this match day. But they're not, and Fenerbahce are up there because they have that work rate. I don't know if you agree with me on that. If it's like more, if Fenerbahce have morphed into more of a work rate team rather than a team of individualistic quality as they were maybe in the past, and even in 2013-14 when Fenerbahce won the league title under Ersun Yanal, I kind of felt like they relied too heavily on a couple of individuals to pull them over the finish line, so to speak.
I mean, in some aspects, I do. In that, when you're looking at the team playing, there doesn't seem to be any egos, like big egos, in the team like in the past. So when we had Van Persie, there was a big ego there, for example. And I don't think Fenerbahce have ever suffered with like big egos. But like you say, looking at the team now, it looks like they're having fun in training, which is important to see. There's a good there's a positive atmosphere around the club. There's still the question mark of Ferdi. I don't know why he wasn't in the squad. Arsene was asked about it after the match, and he just proceeded to give a talk about saying, when you play for Fenerbahce, you need to be in the right mental state.
He does count as a foreigner, I think, so that might be a reason. I don't know how many foreigners were in the squad.
I think you're allowed 14 in the actual squad, I forget how many on the.
No, 13, I think.
13. So I would have to double count that.
Might be wrong.
No, some people say he picked up a knock when he was playing for the under-21s in the Netherlands. I'm not too sure, but he. Like the first 2 games of the season, I remember him coming on, him scoring and assisting, especially in the Gaziantep game and
for sure.
The Başakşehir where he provided the cross for Dirat. So those 2 games he came on and had an impact. After that, he came on and he didn't have as big as impact, which you can't expect that every single game to come on and have a super sub impact. But there's a question mark there. But looking at the team in general, photos from training, videos from training, watching them on Fenerbahce TV, there just seems to be a good positive buzz about the camp, which is good to see, and that looks like it's translated onto the pitch in terms of players willing to work for each other, willing to fight. That really good engine room in midfield. Emre still playing out of his socks at 39. Luis Gustavo just counting down the minutes until he's sent off. But I think you called him
So you agree with me on that?
Well, I think he's just a very physical and he's a tough player. But you can see there's a red card in him at some point this season. But his hair and moustache, love him. The way he stole the ball off that There's a player that they gifted and showed. It was he literally slipped it from behind, took the ball off. There's a sport player, didn't even know the ball had been taken off him, and it was beautiful. But I think the most important thing for us was to get the 3 points, and especially to get the 3 points in Denizli as well, and try and hopefully close a bad chapter in the club's history by coming out of there with 3 points. And I don't know how I can't remember which Denizli player it was. He jumped and kneed Emre in the ribs and didn't get booked for it. And I think you could quite clearly see that as he went up, he looked down. To me, it looked like he looked down and he knew where his knee was going. So that was a high knee. So I think that would count as dangerous play. I'm not saying it should be a red card, but I think it should at least be a foul and a yellow for that, because you see players going in with high feet and knees that have been booked before. But Emre got up and he gave the assist to Vedat. And Vedat, who has just been an absolute revelation, probably in top 2-3 left-footed players that Fenerbahce have had, Alex being number one. And then you've got Evil Balic, who I loved, and he had one season and left. And then you've got this man mounting, he's strong, he runs, he's skillful, scored again for Kosovo in an international break. He just seems to go about his business on the pitch without much complaining and moaning, but he's left alone at the moment, and I would like to see us try and feed him more. So I'm not sure if that's the effect of not having wingers that are good, putting in good crosses for him. Maybe he missed the link up with Cruiser. Maybe there are too many people with left feet in the squad. But then you've got the Denizlispor's chairman coming out after the game saying it's an absolute disgrace that this has happened and that's happened. Well, I think he's called Ali something. Well, Ali something, you can go and fuck yourself.
I was actually looking for the positions he was talking about, because I couldn't really. I mean, there's a position in the first half where Zanka's kind of, I don't know if it's in the box, but he was like pushing a guy. Not sure if that's in the. I don't know if it was in the box.
He was out muscling, and the one I think he's mentioned, and the one that Selçuk, let's call him just Selçuk Wankface, saying, well, Gustavo's fouled on Mustafa Yumlu. That was outside the box, and Yumlu fell inside the box and proceeded to act like he'd taken 2 sniper rifle shots to the leg. Gustavo looks like he'd given a bit of a whack on the leg as he went through, and I'm like, Lewis,
yeah, he lifted his knee, I think. So it was definitely a mean fall. I think that's why I told you that he's got a red card in him, but that wasn't the penalty because it's outside the box, as you said.
Yeah. So I don't know why they were complaining so much. I mean.
I don't think it's a red, by the way, because a friend of mine said that should have been red, but I really didn't see it as. It was definitely a little bit of a mean streak, but it wasn't like I mean, he's not going to injure him. It wasn't hard enough. I think it wasn't like bam. Just a little bam. I don't know.
Yeah, bam. You wouldn't think it because he's quite lean, but he is quite strong. He's got good lungs on him as well, and he just sometimes he's a calm head, sometimes he's a hot head. You don't know what version you've got to get.
He's had a couple of tackles in the box in the past where I think 2 potential penalties in previous games where I really thought he got that was a one against, I think on his debut match where he got away with something, and then there was the one against Galatasaray maybe, but then I think in the replay it kind of looked more like that wasn't really what we all thought it was, and that the guy, it was a Belhanda or whoever, kind of shot in the floor, and that's why he fell. But there was another one, I think. But anyway, I do think he's gonna end up getting a red card sooner or later this season.
Some point, maybe. Yeah. But at the moment, third in the league, 14 points. There's an interesting round of games coming up in game week 9, which we'll look at the end. I think that's going to have a good effect on the top 4 coming to the end of game week 9. But a good result. Hopefully Emre isn't too badly injured and we can get Moses and a cruiser back. So I think once we've got that ideal first 11 back with our wingers and Mad Max in there, we should be a lot more effective at trying to create chances and getting the ball to Vedat a little bit more, because the man will score definitely. He's got it in him. We just need to feed him and get him service. 4 goals so far, so a goal every game. We can't complain based on the strikers we had last season.
Yeah. And just to come back to the earlier thing, there were 9 foreigners in the squad, so that definitely wasn't a reason for Ferdi's omission. And Victor Moses was on the bench, so he'll be back soon, I would imagine. And then maybe one more observation. Fenerbahce and Trabzonspor both successful early on in the season compared to other teams. And maybe one of the key points in that is Vedat Muric, Alexander Sorlov. Strong targetman strikers, able to hold onto a ball, able to do a little bit more than just hold onto the ball, and they're giving their team time to close in, to come up top and just hold the ball, combine with players, giving them an option in the box, around the box. And I think that's something that maybe other teams are lacking right now. Galatasaray have been lacking it with Falcao, who hasn't played much. Andone only just starting to get his feet wet, or whatever, however you say that. And then, of course, Beşiktaş have had a sporadic. Burak Yilmaz only just coming back from injury. Now he's injured again, and then Güven Yalçın, who's an absolute disaster as a lone striker. So I think that really makes a big difference. And I think I rate Vedat very highly. Surlov is winning me over. I know I said a couple of weeks ago I'm not usually impressed with him, but can't deny the guy's been performing. And again, this weekend he was instrumental to the win for Trabzonspor, and he's just so important. And maybe he's not the best striker, but he's really useful. And that's the same thing with Vedat. And not the best striker, I mean, when I'm comparing him to like a Mario Gomez, not. You know what I mean? Like, Yakup, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a really clearly one of the top strikers in the league right now. But he's no Mario Gomez.
Every time I'm watching him play, I'm thinking like, oh, I'm going to tell this to Kaan. Just watch him. just look how good he is.
No. I mean, he is good, but he's not elite level. You know what I mean? I think how old is he? He's like 22, 23.
He's really young. He's really young.
Yeah, so as strikers come into their own around 26, 27, 28. So he's still got lots of room for improvement. And he's already pretty good right now. And, I mean, having a guy like that up top, it just adds so much to a team. It gives you possibilities. It alleviates pressure. And I think Fenerbahce and Trabzonspor have that in common right now. They really have a good big man up top. And that's something Beşiktaş don't have because, well, Burek's injuriness. Galatasaray don't really have it right now either. And Alanya doesn't have it either because Papi Cisse isn't really a big guy, but he's scoring goals. He's banging them in, and they play a different type of football. So yeah, I think Sørloth and Muric could be instrumental in the title race this season too. And of course Falcao can still be too. We'll have to wait and see. Let's move over to Monday, the final match of matchday 8, Konyaspor Malatyaspor. This one ending 2-0 for Malatyaspor. And really the thing where the match revolved around was Serkan Kirintel's red card in the first minute. I'll leave it to Umut to describe the awesomeness of this red card. Then from the resulting free kick, I believe it was, Guilherme scored in the 5th minute to make it 1-0 for Malatyaspor, or 0-1. And then Robin Yalcin made it 2-0 or 0-2 in the 51st minute to grab the 3 points for Malatyaspor. And Umut will be telling us a little bit more about this game.
Well, this game started in an interesting way as the Konyaspor goalkeeper Serkan Kirintel just handled the ball outside of the box, and a straight red card to him. He handled a long ball came to him and just bounced in front of him, which happened to Beto of Göztepe like a few weeks ago, if you remember. Yeah, he was also red carded and sent off from the game, which also ruined the whole gaming plan of Aykut Kocaman and left the team with 10 men for the whole game, and his whole plan just ruined. And after the incident, Malatyaspor midfielder Guilherme scored from a close free kick. Malatya earned from Serkan's handball. Basically, game literally started 1-0 for Malatya. Whole Konya game plan went to the fire by that Serkan thing. But Guilherme, though, should be pointed out because he's now the 5th goal scorer in the league, following his teammate Adis Yahovic and Trabzonspor striker Alexander Sørloth by 4 goals, and being the leader of assist table in the league by 5 assists.
It should be pointed out he didn't play in the beginning of the season either.
Yeah, guys driving into both lanes, so holding 9 direct goal contributions in 8 games he's played, which is very impressive from him. Very creative player he is, a great left foot and a very agile body. I'm looking forward to see his contribution for Malatyaspor. You see these kind of players make some impression under Sergen Yalcin, and not the first time, because a name comes up in the mind. Obviously, Deniz Türüç. A few seasons ago, he scored 11 goals following 11 assists for Kayserispor. Under Sergen Yalcin as well, as you know. And Guilherme is going for similar numbers, as we can see. Sergen Yalcin loves to use these kind of players and shine them, because I think it resembles his older self,
Maybe he would do well with Adem Laic.
Yeah, maybe. But just looked him up and figured that he was on a 3-year loan from the Italian side Benevento. So if Malatya won't buy him, he will be returning to Italy in 2029-21 season, which is a bad thing. We should be seeing him in the Super League. He's a really good performer for the league.
Yeah. Really good player.
Yeah, anyway, as Konyaspor trying to keep it tight and all, Robin Yalcin scored in the 52nd minute from a defensive error in Konyaspor defense. Kubic bounced the ball inside the box and the others failed to clear the ball, and Robin Yalcin finished the rebound, ending 2-0. Aykut Kocaman missed that opportunity to close the week in front of Fenerbahce. You'd know how much he wanted to be on the top of the table. He lost the chance due to Serkan, and in his interview he was real angry at Serkan and telling him to let it go, just concede the goal. We should be coming around eventually, because whole 90 minutes playing with 10 men, it's really hard for a team, and it just destroys the game plan from the beginning, and it's a bad thing. And also Sergen Yalcin is now in front of Galatasaray on the table at 5th position with his team Malatya, which is great news for him.
Level points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
No? Okay, well, guys, anything to add on this match?
No, it just revolves around Serkan Kırıntılı's madness.
Yeah.
I just don't know what came over him. Did he just like lose his head? Was he not fully concentrated because it was the start of the game? Why didn't he not try to head it? He's got previous like this as well. I think he's letting a goal like this I was seeing online earlier in his career when a big kick out from the goalkeeper and it just bounced over him as he came out of his goal.
But he just plucked this one. It's like he didn't even realize he was outside the box, and then he looks down and is like, oh shit, the lines are nowhere here.
Yeah, and it's like, what have you done, you absolute plum?
The Beto one was different. I mean, that one you see, I've never seen this before.
No, this was like he was just conducting a training exercise, and it all seemed very normal until he woke up and realised he'd been sent off.
Yeah, and
He
he
didn't
immediately
even argue.
realized it.
He didn't even argue.
No, why? Well, there's nothing to argue. He
Yeah.
realized it immediately. His head hang down. I think he was even crying in his shirt when he was walking off, or at least cussing himself. Go ahead, Burak.
I was just going to say 20 seconds. That's absolute madness. You know, if you're watching the game, you probably you just gone to the toilet and you're washing your hands to get yourself a glass of water, and you're like, what?
I think he didn't even get sweaty,
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Poor guy. Quick question I do want to ask though, because I've been praising Sergen for the past couple of years in his coaching. I feel like he's definitely a talented coach, but every time he's at a team and they lose, like even Malatyaspor, like they haven't lost a lot this season, but I remember a couple weeks ago they lost 3-0 or something, and then immediately people pop up in my mentions because they know I rate him as a coach, and they're like, oh, you see, Sergen can't do it, and blah, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just curious what your guys' opinion is on this guy as a coach. And Umut, I know you've been paying probably the closest attention to his coaching career, but what's your general assessment of Sergen as a coach?
I think he likes to play with the talented players. Like, as I mentioned before, Deniz Türüç was that kind. He played him on the central position rather than what he usually plays on the right, right now for the Fenerbahce. He likes to shine them because he knows what they are capable of, because he was that player at the time. The best one in the league, I can think of, like Alex, like Hagi, like Sergen. Sergen is the one. He was the one, and he knows how things go and how a player can dictate the whole team in the field. So, if that player is existing in the squad for Sergen, he knows how to play with them and play alongside the team. And but the thing is with Sergen is he's not consistent in any ways, because we are used to that he just goes successfully and at the end he just resigns from what he does. But I don't know why. It's a bit his characteristic, I don't know how to describe it. I know
that when he was at Gaziantepspor and he was doing really well there,
he just vanished. I don't know why.
Yeah, but he left because I think the season before he came in, saved them from relegation, then left, and then the season after I think he came back and did the same thing again. But he did say, because there were big issues at Gaziantep, financial issues where the players weren't getting paid. If the players don't get their wages, I'm out.
Yeah, it's a true thing to do.
I know that happened at least once, but then I don't know why he left Kayseri. I don't know why. Why did he leave Alanyaspor, where we had a really talented squad? I think Erol is plucking the fruits of his labor there right now, but even when they were playing last season, it's really weird that they had such a bad start to the season last season before Sergen came in, because if you look at their squad, they have so much quality. They really do. It's not a coincidence that they're up top at the table right now. They're not just an Istanbulspor a la circa 2004, where they were at the top of the table for a while, but they were just there because of a little bit of luck and hard work, maybe. Under Aykut Kocaman, mind you, and where his teams, of course, are known for that grinta hard work. but less quality. But here, Alanyaspor have such a great quality. And then he came into Malatyaspor, who I felt like had a lot less quality than Alanyaspor. Still do, by the way. I think they have a couple of good players like Guilherme. I really like Mina at the back. But apart from that, Adis Jahovic is okay, but he's high up in the goal scoring rankings right now because he scored 4 goals in one game a couple of weeks ago. But I'm not a huge fan of his. And in general, Fofana, Bifuma, yeah, they're good and quick, but they don't have that much end product. So I'm kind of surprised that they're doing as well as they are doing, because I did tip Malatyaspor at the beginning of the season to be struggling this season. But maybe I underestimated Sergen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think we have anything less to add, so let's move over to the standings. At the top of the table right now are Alanyaspor with 17 points. Fenerbahce are in second position with 15 points, not the third position. Oh, sorry, Trabzonspor. Sorry,
yeah,
Yakup.
you can't
It
get
better
that
not
wrong.
happen again.
Trabzonspor are in second
like, what?
position with 15 points. Fenerbahce and Başakşehir are both on 14 points, but Fenerbahce have the better head-to-head, I think, or the better goal differential. And then we have Malatyaspor and Galatasaray both on 13 points on 5th and 6th position. Let's move down to the bottom of the table, where we still have Istiklal Mobilya Kayserispor at the bottom with 4 points. Gençlerbirliği are on 6 points now, so they're moving closer to the line, so to speak. Then we have a couple of teams on 8 points. The first one in the relegation zone there is Çaykur Rizespor, and then we have also Kasımpaşa and Yukatel Denizlispor on 8 points. So Denizlispor, despite a really good start to the season, are finding themselves now in that relegation zone, but they are still above the cutoff bar based on goal differential. And then we have 2 teams on 9 points with Beşiktaş and Ankaragücü, the teams that played each other this weekend, of course. And also Göztepe have 9 points. So that's really the relegation zone and on the top of the table. So let's move over to the fixtures for match day 9 quickly. We have Çaykur Rizespor taking on Ankaragücü on Friday. Then on Saturday we have Sivasspor taking on Antalyaspor, Gaziantep Futbol Kulübü taking on Aytimiz Alanyaspor, and Fenerbahce taking on Konyaspor. So that will be without Serkan Kırıntılı, and he is very important for Konyaspor. So that's good news for Fenerbahce, I think. Then on Sunday we have Yeni Malatyaspor taking on Kayserispor. We have Gençlerbirliği taking on Denizlispor, so that's an interesting match with potential relegation implications. And Göztepe takes on Kasımpaşa, another interesting match in the relegation zone. And then Beşiktaş against Galatasaray, another interesting match in both the relegation zone and the title race. And then finally on Monday, Başakşehir take on Trabzonspor, which I think actually is probably going to be the most interesting game of the match day, if I'm quite honest, because I don't think that Beşiktaş Galatasaray is going to be all that interesting given all the injuries Beşiktaş have right now. I just can't see Beşiktaş put up much of a fight, despite it being at Vodafone Park. But it's a derby, and you never know. But I think that'll do for this week for episode 8 in our second season of Football Turca. Guys, thank you very much, and of course thank you to Özer for being. He dropped off earlier, of course, for being here. Thank you to him, and Burak, Yakup, Umut. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll speak again next week, hopefully with a lot of goals again.
We will. It's going to be an interesting week next week, like you said. Beşiktaş, Galatasaray, Başakşehir, Trabzon, and Alanya Sivas as well. So it could be all changed at the top of the table when we meet again next week, my dear listeners.
Yeah, and also forget the European fixtures. During midweek, Galatasaray are taking on Real Madrid, Beşiktaş are taking on Braga, Trabzonspor are taking on Krasnodar, and Başakşehir are taking on Wolfsberger, if I'm not mistaken. So, interesting European fixtures as well during the midweek, and then of course, at the end of the week, we already told you the game. So, for me, Kaan Bayazit, thank you and good night, and guys, have your say.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. We'll see you next week, Turkaholics. Thanks for listening.